Welcome. If you're here, this is my very first episode of Honest Though, Honest Though. And so this is the first one, and it's all going to be about discussing a little bit more than what we've looked at. So every Sunday, if you've been coming, I look at the energies for the week. Now, if you're here, it's not by accident. If you end up catching this live stream, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. So today's show, this Thursday night show that I'm starting, is different than the Sunday energy forecast. So Sundays, I give you a map, and now Thursdays is really going to be us where we talk about what it feels like to navigate through what is happening, okay? So I wanna get this in that we're gonna talk about, like, honestly, what is going on? How do we make it through? Let's talk about the things that people aren't talking about. Let's go over what is being reported that we're very distracted from. And so we're gonna have these real conversations that people haven't been really talking about out loud. So tonight's question is one that has been bothering me all week, and it's the world is acting weird, and it's not just in one place. It's not just in one place. It's everywhere. I have questions. I'm sure you have questions as well. Like I think we all have questions. So I have a whole bunch of websites and slides ready to show to talk about all the weird stuff so we can really reflect and take a bigger view of what is happening to us, and especially down the woo woo hole. That's specifically what I want to look at this evening. So I want to know what you think. So as we go through, please comment, like, subscribe in the chat. Hello, Michael. Thank you for joining me. And the idea is that we want to put a plan of how we're surviving and staying grounded in a world that feels really uncertain, because that's really what's going to matter in the end, is that we get our stable ground, we can go forward and actually proceed as humans in a way that makes sense, right? But let's go. Let's go into it. And if this is your first time here watching, let me know if it's your first time. You can drop that in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. I would love to see who is joining me on the lives. Now, hopefully I will get your message because I am now streaming YouTube, Facebook, into TikTok, as well as it should be going live on Substack and on Rumble. So you should be catching me on one of those platforms here. Okay, so before we get into all of the good stuff tonight, I've got a whole bunch of stuff I wanted to really talk about, especially when we start talking about the frequencies, the Schumann resonance, the UAPs, we're going to go down all of those holes. I want to do a quick sweep of everything that I do have available, and a lot of it's going to come up as being valuable for where we're going. But first, my first thing I want to show you guys is my new spiritual intelligence app. Let me bring this up here. This is my Awakened Light app. Now, we are still in the beta testing stage. So this is being beta tested still. We're actually currently working on the database to get it so things are saving properly. But this one, you will want to be a beta tester. If you're not now, you will by the end of this conversation today. Because especially when we get into a lot of the details and a lot of the fun aspects here, we've got find your best time, ask a question so you can ask specific questions about your life. We've got tools, you can do your own poll, but definitely a journal entry, because a lot of this that we're going to go into is about reflecting and kind of finding out who we are. So there's a whole bunch on this. You have your own soul map reading, which is like your overall astrology report. And maybe this is not working because we're working on back end stuff. Normally that comes up. We're beta testing still and doing some background. But if you are interested, which I highly recommend, to become a beta tester to try it out for free while we're working on these little glitches, you can go to my website here, Julianne Duffy, at julianneduffy.com, or write at breathewithinyoga.com. This will bring you to this website. And right here, you can become an Awakened Light beta tester. Just fill that out and I will send you the link and you can go forward testing that out. I also have, as we go through this month, a couple of downloads to let you know about. Oh, wait, here we go. This is my collection here that is going to be on my app and has been on my app. We're still working on the back end things. We've got my digital downloads, our Clarify Your Direction. I've got one for the month of April, which is key dates, moon dates, energetic windows, really to assist you through this month. But even more important is the stay oriented guide. This is really looking from March until August, and it's really going to give us an idea of how to stay grounded when we're feeling uncertain, because we are definitely in uncertain times. That's why I've made on this new show, honestly though. So that gives you a lot of details. It's 25 pages, and it really gives you a 6-month navigation guide to like what we're going to be talking about tonight. And then the last thing that I do have here, my pages are good thing I had my pages all organized, and then I'm glad I write numbers on them because some days, here we go. If you're looking for your own more personalized one-on-one, if you go to my website again, breathewithinyoga.com, you can always, I've got oracle and chart readings, so you can go here and have a one-on-one session. I have these available, and they have some different options if you want to add some yoga into it, because I do oracle cards with yoga as well. I've got a lot of great options for you to build and grow with, so check those out. And the last thing that my husband and I are currently working on is our Grow Your YouTube, our visibility engine. This is our visibility engine. So you can come and find out about it. Join our webinar. I've been posting this all over. You've probably seen it. It's on my links. It will be in, I'm very sure it's on Rumble. It's definitely on YouTube. And you can find out how we will help you get more visible as well. So those are just to let you know what is available, but you're going to see the value of some of the things as we go through today. And we'll go from there. Okay, let me replace that window here with this. And we're going to come right back to this very, very soon. We're going to be talking about this human resonance, but I've got a whole bunch of things I wanted to kind of cover and start going into. So now I'm not a journalist. I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm just somebody who pays a lot of attention to the things that are going on, and have been seeing patterns continuously grow for sure in the last really probably I really got to notice patterns was right around 2010, 2011. So we're looking at like 17 years of seeing things and paying attention to the weird things that are all around us. So I want to talk about how this is affecting us collectively and the things we're not really talking about. So I put in a list. It really came from, I talk often, if you've watched any of my videos, about the China Observer. Okay. That was the stem of this today, was the China Observer and a video. Let me bring up that video here because we're going to go into it. There's a lot of things in this video, but this is the inspiration, was this video, which I'll share here. There we go. This video here. China in apocalypse. Explosions, fires, earthquake. It's like a horror movie come to life. So this summarizes up all of the things that we're going to be talking about. So they've got, essentially, there's a whole bunch of strange things happening in China, chemical plant fire, people hearing explosions 30 kilometers away, factory fires, another fire in Jialing. I probably said that wrong. We've got a fire at the Sheraton Grand Hotel, 49-story twin glass towers, multiple floors burning. But what's interesting, a very interesting pattern, this isn't the main part, but this is just where this video starts and really was the inspiration on this China apocalypse, okay, is the fact that there is a pattern of just not seeing the things properly, like the scale of the events, right? So what's being reported is definitely like there was a lot of these being reported. There's no casualties or way lower, or even videos being restricted on these events. So it's not new. It's something we're seeing a lot of. So it's again just highlighting that same theme of, well, why are they constantly like, what is really the undergoing theme of it? Now, I do know we are in the astrology, the Chinese astrology of the fire horse. So is it legitimately all these fires and stuff that's happening in China is related to that? I don't know. It's just a very interesting part of the puzzle. And so several Chinese users were restricted when they were showing different things or not being able to comment, and it's interesting on how that works. So just that, keeping that side note, that was the inspiration. What this video gets into, now this is what's really interesting, is what happens after the fires. We start to get into, because it's talking about explosions, fires, earthquakes, horror movies. Well, we're going to be going into weird earth changes as well as just UAPs. People are not talking about them. Like we're hearing them, we're hearing more of them. There is people that have highlighted them and have been highlighting them for many years, but it's on the rise, okay? So once we get past this, all these weird fires going on, so seeing this weird trend, no casualties, not really telling us the truth. We can pretty much put that with anything going on. Whether they want to talk about what's going on in the war or that we're currently in, or what's happening in a lot of places. So it's that same theme. But let's start to dive into what starts to get really interesting. So we're going to jump right into the UAPs right off the bat, okay? So here in this video, let's see. Okay, there it is. This is the UAP. Now I'm going to play some of these videos and I'll have to make sure I'm sharing the sound. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to hear, but you'll see here. Oops, where did I go? There we go. I'm going to play this here. So find this one really interesting because this is uh, kind of the round globe orb. Okay. So before I get into that and we're going to look at this and look at some different interesting connections. Here is some the things that are not uniquely Chinese, but are happening all over the world. So the Baltic Sea, and this is all very recent. We've got March 30th to April 5th. We had NATO confirm fighter jets scrambled 4 times in 1 week to intercept an unidentified aircraft. It had its transponders off. There was no flight plan, no radio contact. Officials' response was minimal. Then we have in the North Sea, and that would have been a little earlier in March. NATO again, patrol aircraft tracked multiple unidentified objects operating between the UK, Norway, and Denmark. Uh, Tracked on radar for over 4 hours. And objects reportedly move from hovering to Mach 2 speeds instantly. Okay, so we're seeing a lot of that. And I actually had my own personal experience when I was really young of seeing something in the sky that was going in one direction and then it just took off completely faster in a completely opposite direction. Nothing that even when I was younger, we didn't have that type of technology, okay? Not that we're privy to know, okay? And then we've got so these are all just things that are happening in March. Then we have the US Argo, which I went and looked up. And what does that actually mean? That was I wanted to make sure I had the right. The Argo is All Domain Anomaly Resolution Team. So they're under the Security of Defense and specifically look at UAPs. It has over 2,400 catalogs cases that and over 171 that are not actually explained. Okay. Now, if we go into this, because we're going to come back to this video, but if we go into what has recently happened, which I think is probably one of the most interesting things, is it this one here? Is that you've got now the US government, and if you haven't heard, they did it's not up yet, but they have now gone and registered aliens.gov. Okay. So aliens.gov. And this really leads into what I wanted to really talk about because we have the Because I want to make sure I've got I'm going to make sure I have his name proper here. Congressman Tim Burchett. Burchett? He said just the beginning, April 2026, okay, that if Americans knew what he knows about extraterrestrial life, they would be unable to sleep at night. He is a member of the Federal Secret's Declassification Task Force. So this is what I think is kind of the interesting thing. I'm going to stop sharing because I want to make sure I can share the volume with it. Because I'm going to share a video on it. And then I do want to talk about what that really means. What does that mean to, oh, it doesn't give me an option. So if my producer can let me know about if this plays the volume and just put that in the comments, I'd appreciate it. Let's mow the lawn together. We are thinking, we're thinking aliens, technology, it's all gonna come together. We're going down a lot of holes today, a lot of the rabbit holes that there's some interesting parallel, and it makes me go, well, how much is not human? How much is advanced human technology? How much is something that we don't actually know about? But let's go to this and let me know right away if you guys can hear this, okay? Oops. Let's press play instead of.
Congressman claims if Americans saw alien reports he was shown, this country would have come unglued. You'd be up all night, he says. Timber chat, right? I believe that he received classified briefings about aliens and UFOs that would deeply alarm the public if revealed. He said the information was so serious that this country would have come unglued, which is so scary, and people would be unable to sleep if they knew. What? Burchett did not provide specific details about what he was shown in the briefings. He stated he has been briefed by multiple government agencies, alphabet agencies, on an unexplained phenomenon. So the congressman has long advocated for full government disclosure on UFOs and.
So, I don't know. Did you guys hear that? Let me know if you didn't or did. I would totally appreciate that because I'm just making sure this works. So, let's put that in perspective. The fact that they don't think we could sleep at night if we knew what they know leads me to a lot of questions. A lot of questions. Huge amount of questions, because if it would bother us that much, we have some soul searching to do if it becomes this point to really learn that we are not alone on this planet, never have been alone, and that there's a lot more going on. So it's interesting because we've got the website coming up. We've got them preparing us that we can't handle the truth. All I can think is, you can't handle the truth. Well, can we? I don't know. Can the collective handle the truth of what is happening? Perfect. Thank you. Let's mow the lawn together. So, just an interesting oversight on that. And then when I was doing some research, it is in also going down this sightings by country just for 2026. And there's already been thousands of sightings overall, but these are ones where I believe that they've been logged as the ones that they could not actually say was anything else, okay? So we've got here, like, here's a summary. We've got the biggest ones are United Kingdom. And it's interesting because are they not near, like when we talked about it, the Baltic Sea and the North Sea, are they not near those areas, right? So I thought that was an interesting thing that they show up number one. We then have the United States. Then we've got Greece. So we're going over here into Greece, which again is right off of like the water. Interesting, right? There's always been this weird pattern with a lot of waters. And then Indonesia, again, right here, all the different islands. They're the top ones going into Brazil. And again, Brazil is right here. And there's been so many stories of Brazil and things in the mountains as well. So that is the top so far for this year. And then it starts going into a lot of countries. Like I think Canada's like right in there at where Greece, and then so 6, 7, 8, 9th. So there's still, and when I was looking at that just as a side note, because I am I was born in Canada. I did come across this article which talked about last year alone in Canada, there was over 1,000 UFO reports in Canada in 2025. They said, I believe where it goes, the mass majority were easily explained as stars, planes, satellites, but a small number didn't have explanation. And so that is what they were really saying. So we're looking at that there was a little bit of there was an increase from 2024 to 2025. So there is this increase in it happening, and it's being shown everywhere. And the reason again, really this came back down to, oh, the wrong one there, to let these, just clicking on all of my links here, was really because of this and because of all the things that are being seen in China. Okay, this is why, like, all the things that are being seen in China are quite amazing. Okay, so if we continue down with the events, so we've got the Baltic Sea, the North Sea, both NATO responded to them, that there was things that moved really fast from nothing to Mach speeds. Then there was a RAF Typhoon jet scrambled twice, and the Norwegian armed forces confirmed that they were investigating an unidentified object, aerial activity near offshore oil and gas installations. Okay, so that's also really interesting. Then we've got the Pentagon, and then of course with the alien.gov being released, and then the Pentagon guy talking about, disclosing that we wouldn't be able to handle the truth, right? What does that really mean? What does that mean? And how does that change our lives if we really digest the fact that if they haven't been open because they're scared we're going to lose our minds, or we're just not going to be able to function, or is it going to be so traumatic? What does that even look like, right? And then it's interesting because we also have um Representative Ann Paula Luna, that in March, so just this past March, requested that Pentagon release at least 48 videos related to UAP sightings to the Oversight Committee. So I know that they have released some of those, but they really want to get those. And it's stated to be seen in 2026 as a consistent with the pattern he's observed over years. So this is not something, this has been years and years of doing it. And the AATIP director, Louis Ozendo, he says this has been happening for a very long time, and that's the Advanced Airspace Threat Identification Program. Okay, so we're seeing these things all over the place. We don't know where they're coming from. Okay, now if we continue, because the whole point was what really stemmed me was here in China and what's happening in China. So they also we have UAPs and just weird things that we're seeing. Okay, so Beijing on April 6th, there is multiple residents. I'm gonna play this in the background. So remember this orb type thing. I'm not gonna put the video or the volume on, but I'm gonna play it so you can kind of see the different things that have been reported while I talk about it. We're gonna come back to this orb. So remember this orb, okay? Because I've got a whole bunch on the orb. Now, April 6th in Beijing, a mysterious red glowing object above the clouds over Madden Bridge, and it was clearly within the clouds. It didn't seem like a reflection. It changed shape over several minutes. So that is very interesting. I'm going to come back here. Let's just pause this for a moment because I actually came across, I believe it was this one here. And there's all of these glowing objects being seen in the sky. Now, is this as easy as, which we're going to get into, like Three Eye Atlas? Is this other asteroids, comets coming in, which is an interesting connection to Planet X? Okay, so if you go down the hole, that things that would happen when Planet X would be closer to Earth, which would be all other planetary, so like systems, like our solar system, are binary with two suns. So, or two, large gas giants. So we really technically should be, there's probably a binary on this. So it's an interesting thing because now we're just seeing these red ones, right? So that comes up in there as well. We'll go back here so you can watch these as I talk about all the weird things that are going on, okay? Then we have multiple Chinese cities between April 2nd and 6th where the spherical object. So that object we're talking about, this round object with a transparent outer shell and a smaller black device visible inside, was filmed near a high-rise residential building. So slowly accelerating and then flying away. And it was similarly filmed in another location on April 6th, again gradually rising and then disappearing after about 3 minutes. And it seems to be a mixture of glass and metal. Okay. So this one was what was really interesting, because it's only a few weeks ago that I was watching a video, and I'm going to bring this one up. Let's see, where is it? Here it is. And I like this guy, so I highly recommend that you check out James. That's how he spells it. Jaymez. So this person, this here that you're seeing, and I'll play it back a little bit. So he is essentially, we'll just play it without the volume, but you'll see here.
Got loads of people live,
Oops.
so this is
There we go. So he's live. This guy is a live streamer, and he's reporting what this live streamer starts streaming. So normally he does video games and stuff like that. And he starts seeing the round object here, right? So he's seeing it, and it's floating above. Looks a lot like the one we saw in China, the one that I was highlighting just before. So it looks a lot like this. But what's really amazing with this, because I had to go hunt for this video because I wanted to make sure that I could highlight this. So of course people are saying, well, is it a helicopter, etc., etc. People are questioning it, but they can't really find, there'd be sounds, right? So anyways, he starts walking because it lands. So he goes and finds it, and he's talking. He's actually really scared while he's talking. So he's actually really scared during this talking. But you can see, as we watch this, he's looking at it, and it's weird because even when he's showing it, it seems like it changes shape. It seems like it's got that same, um, the just the optical illusion of the glass and the metal, like was being reported. And he's like, it was really, really cold on one side, which is what he's doing, and he's, like, finding that it's, like, really cold. So you're like, "What type of technology is this?" Now, I've also seen other people highlight it. What I find is very interesting is that it has a branding on it, okay? It has a branding, like a logo, and he's like, "Yeah, he's just hitting it with a stick. Let's just bang it, because that's such a human thing to do, right?" And I believe we'll see that here. Let me just kinda skip ahead, because I believe yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Because here we go. Here's where you start to see some of the branding and the logos on this. So, yeah, so it looks like it's almost clear with something inside of it. And then yeah, he's trying to get a good view of it, but it's like it's weirdly difficult to record. Yes, and then this is the image that he sees on it. That's the image, and so it's like glass, but it's got that image, which I'm very sure we've seen in some of those, like, really ancient pictographs that are built into the ground, like, things like that, right? So it's interesting because we're seeing the same kinda logo, so whatever these are, whether it's an advanced human species, I don't know if we're seeing any more of this now, but if you want the whole volume in the video, which I highly recommend you go and check out, this is the video here. Man records alien sphere landing in his backyard and things get crazy. And that's from James, and go check him out on YouTube. Okay. So I've now seen this a few times. It seems to always be this orb that kind of seems like it changes shape, but it's more that clear. And then it's got something black inside. And now it's got a logo. Okay. So then it's making me think right off the bat, like just for my own self, well, either an advanced human or an advanced department that is logoizing it, or that whatever is over keeping us is sending version of their labels and their branding on it. Seems weird. All I can say, seems weird, right? So we're just getting all this weird stuff. This is a very weird phenomenon here. This one, I'm going to play this for you because let's see if I can go back. This is another weird phenomenon because about them like feeling like there is so many weird messages of the especially of the toppling of the Communist Party. So a lot of the Chinese are reading it that way. But listen to this.
The terrifying toad outside the Tiananmen temple. The toad was covered in so many eggs that its body appeared to be wrapped up in them. The netizen initially thought that the toad was chained, but upon closer inspection, it was clear that the eggs were wrapping around it. This toad's extraordinary reproductive capacity was described as terrifying.
Just a little terrifying. Weird anomalies that are going on. Like, these are just the weird things they're seeing all over China, right? So it's this was another hole, it was a gas hole that just started blowing out of it, right? We've got separate sightings of a dragon-like creature. This one here, this is a city they saw. So this is something that does not exist on the water. This is one of those mirages that has happened in China, okay? And they're saying that this does not do its serve for how it is. I want to get what I got my notes on there, because what is super interesting about that, go here. Because this is the strange phenomenon here. The city. Because they were saying it was, I have so many notes because it's, oh, here it is. Yes. So that is Quan Hang Dong Do Hebrew, whatever. You can watch it here on the, oh, it's right there on the title. That location in China. Since I can barely speak English, don't expect me to say the Chinese name. However, this is all a mirage, okay? So this might look like this is like buildings or like a land mass with stuff over there. This is supposedly a mirage, okay? And this is a band-shaped mirage that stretched for several dozen kilometers along the coastline and lasted for 30 minutes, okay? So witnesses described buildings that did not exist in reality appearing perfectly aligned and in full color. And what they're saying in this video is, like I said, it doesn't do it justice, the video. It looked so vibrant, so real. And I guess one local that lived there for over 30 years did say they've never seen anything like this ever in their lives, and so it looked more real than the actual surroundings, okay? It looked more real than like what they were standing on the beach, okay? Some witnesses were certain that what they saw could not be explained by atmospheric reflection alone, okay? Now, this makes me think of things like the Blue Beam Project, or the idea that things can be cloaked, okay? So, do we have floating cities? Do we have islands that are legitimately being cloaked? And that, because what we're going to talk about as we get into the astrology, we are coming in, especially next week, where we're in the fine line of what is truth and what is not, and the clarity is coming. We're going some interesting conjunctions. So it seems this would be very appropriate to have come up, is that, are we seeing technology break down and advanced technology that's letting us see these things now? Are they just a mirage? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Like, please comment. Let me know what you guys think about this stuff. I'm just sharing all these interesting pieces, okay? They also, with this, which I believe it'll go into, let me continue playing this. So you're seeing this. They're saying it's super vibrant. It looks like a city. I even know in like the early 2017-ish time, maybe it's 2015, they were seeing a lot of things more in the clouds, which that makes me think more blue beam. But again, if we watch the Marvel, they talk about being able to cloak their ship and no one knows they're there. So it's like, how much are they telling us in our reality, right? How much is real? How much is not real, right? And I'm going to say probably sci-fi is more interesting than anything else. So this was them talking about the location and just like highlighting. So obviously it was starting to disappear by this time as they were sharing this, what looks like a landmass. And they were even describing that they could see mountains in the background of it. Like, it looked so real. And that all these people are mass hallucinating this mirage. Okay. So interesting here. Now, we can, yeah, like, that looks so clear. That totally looks like a city, and that's what they're saying is what was appearing. But it's not supposed to be there, right? And you're all mass hallucinating the same thing. And then here you can see I've got the description here for you. Okay, we're gonna get right into this guy here because that is we're going back into the Earth changes. So we're gonna come back to this and talk more about that. However, let's go back to just again more of the spotting, right? So I just wanted to play this here. I'm going to mute this. Just playing here. You can check Desmond out. This was something here in just in April or March, seen in Florida. So this is really just like recent again. This, in my opinion, kind of looks a little bit more like technology that maybe we have reverse engineered. But again, I don't know. All I know is I have a lot more questions than actual answers. Okay, so let's continue here. And I am going to, where is that? Here we go. We'll stay here for a moment and let's continue with more things that were the interesting sightings that came up. Nashville, Tennessee, there was another UFO shooting out of the sky at 9 p.m. and was reported to New Force, and they did the investigation in that, or they're looking into it. That was Nashville, Tennessee, in March 30th. March 7th in San Antonio, Texas, black rectangular craft, maybe something that looks like this, because this would make sense, because this is like kind of that rectangular option. So maybe that's what they were seeing as well in San Antonio, Texas. This was seen in Florida in March as well. We had Lackland Air Force Base had no information regarding these. So there's no information. They don't know anything about it. They can't help you. Oh, there's more of the fireballs. That's amazing and changing directions. You know, you got to love this. Like that that's very interesting. Hey, just changes direction. You know what? It was swamp gases. Hide it and let's see if I can bring it back. Because it looked like it froze here. You're missing the fireballs. Let's refresh this here. I am using a lot of data. And I'm frozen. Okay, maybe I'm coming back. My screen sharing is for this for the moment here. Let's stop that. Oh, it doesn't want to make me big again. I've broken everything. That's what I do best is break things. So we had the triangular object, San Antonio. We're seeing it in Florida. We saw that. We saw those weird fireworks going in different directions. We have Warwick, Rhode Island, end of March the 26th. Unidentified object reported to the new force. We've got Winter Haven, California, April 3rd. UFO fleet filmed and filed. Okay, Mississippi coast, March 28th. Sighting reported across multiple states. Wilmer, Alabama, March 25th. Orb filmed in the backyard with a wildlife camera at 8 p.m. So we've got just sighting after sighting. Okay, just lots of weird things. And then, oh, United Kingdom, which we can't forget about because when we look at that map, let's see if this will come up again. I'm going to bring it to the map first here. Let's pause this. Take a moment here. So let's go here. So with the views, again, United Kingdom is still highest thus far. But there's a lot coming by the seas that are near them as well. But Skinning Grove Beach, North Yorkshire on March 16th, large bright orange circular objects approximately 50 meters across, hovering 3 miles offshore, appearing and disappearing over the 3 minutes that it was there. Okay. So I Wonder if it will be that go back here where he shows the next part that you guys didn't get to see because it decided to freeze on me. Let's see here. Here it is. So is it this type of fireball? Like it's just changing direction. Oh, let me go back a little bit so you can get the full effect of that. Beautiful. I'm gonna say it's fireworks. It's fireworks. It does not like streaming this one for some apparent reason, so we'll pause that some more here. Oh, I can't even pause it. It won't pause. It's just gonna continue to freeze. Okay. Am I frozen? Am I back? I'm here. Are you still here? Okay. So anyways, those are the type of things being seen, okay? And then as I showed with this other image right here, and I believe it was Instagram, like there we go. We've got the fireball. Doesn't look like the other one that was moving like fireworks, but interesting, right? So we've got all of those being seen. And then we have the whole being told that we wouldn't be able to sleep at night if we knew what they knew, okay? Now my thought is, if we were always told the truth, would that actually be a problem? I don't know. I'm going to say it probably wouldn't be a problem, but that's just my opinion. So, so then we get into the next big part, which we're going to start talking about is a lot of this stuff. Is it three-eye atlas, right? Because that is worth kind of mentioning here, especially with the interstellar comet and all the things we don't understand about it. And it's brought a lot of questions up, probably way more questions than anything else. Let's see. Because I brought up here, I found there's just so many weird things that we don't know about this comet compared to any other one that's come through, right? So you've got like a whole list of just the weird things, like the different ways it travels, the weird stuff. Is it bringing some of these other comets and stuff that are making sounds, which is going to make us lead to the next weird Earth thing, which is the weird Earth boom phenomenons and the weird stuff going on. But the interstellar comet, the three eye, only a third ever confirmed. There's only a third of the ever confirmed to visit our solar system is currently passing through it. So an interstellar comet almost never goes through. Okay, scientists at Harvard have at their Galileo project cataloged 22 anomalies with the behavior with this three-eye atlas. And then they also found there was like levels of this of one deuterium, I could be saying that completely wrong, 30 times higher than any known comet that's ever had. They got telescopes and on 3 different continents that were listening for signals from it because it seems to have been bringing signals. Um, Yet the official line is it's natural and nothing to see there. So it's just really strange, right? So I guess like what do you guys think? Is it the government? Is it something else? Is this just the divine timing and part of this apocalypse we're amongst, I don't know. But if you are interested, I did make a video because the timing of this comet is very interesting. And I made this video. It's Comet Intelligence Return Transmission, Cosmic Message 3-Eye Atlas, and what the meaning of this is in the spiritual way. So check it out. It's on my page. If you go to, let me breathe within yoga. If you're watching me on YouTube, you're already there. Oh, there I'm live. Well, now I've skipped out of here. There we go. And if you just go to the videos I have, It is, like, in the top row. It's one of the more recent ones that I posted 5 months ago. So you can take it out and have a different, more spiritual look of what this comet is bringing and, what it really means, and a different look than just the fact that it is abnormal in so many ways and the divine timing with it, which is really interesting. It's like I'm very sure it's here to help bring a lesson about um what's happening, right? What we're going. So that is very interesting. So continuing on, so we've got some UAPs, we've got weird stuff we're seeing. We're seeing these weird round spears that are glass but metal with a logo from either a different culture, society that we're not aware of, or maybe other entities, who knows. We've got weird weather and weird lies going on. Well, now we go into the earth and the strange things going on all over this planet, okay? So there's viewers reporting unexplained sounds and other strange phenomena. So this has just been growing and growing as we go. So first, one of the weird things was, and it's like these don't normally happen. That's why these are weird. Is in April, because again, it was the China Observer, that video that I was watching that really stemmed me down this hole this week. Of they had a 3.9 magnitude earthquake. So really not a like not, not nothing, but not a huge earthquake, okay? And the sound, like from residents there, said the sound was like the earth twisting over. Like it was just this insane and dark. The dogs were barking way before. Like it didn't seem natural per se. Then we also go into, we'll go back to that, the sounds, but I wanted to bring up also what we're now seeing. And now it's come up twice, and now we're seeing it in two different places. So let me show you. Let's go to first the most recent, which is the right here just recently, April 3rd was the, is it parfish? Is that how they say it? It's the doomsday fish. This is the doomsday fish, okay? So it was stranded on a beach in China. It's a deep sea creature, and the idea with the doomsday fish is you only see it and it only appears in shallow water before significant seismic events. Now, what's interesting, so they just saw this April 3rd, okay? And that shows up. And unfortunately, even though they did save this creature, it doesn't do well once it's been to the shallow. So it probably didn't survive anyways. However, we only have to look back like a month before. And let me get it here. Where is it? Here it is. The doomsday fish washed up in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, February 20th. So now we've got, within like a 2-month period, we have doomsday fishes fish that have shown up on the China beaches and as well as in a Mexican beach. And I was very sure, but I could not find it. I swore there was one that also showed up on the California beach recently as well. So again, just very interesting when we're seeing these patterns. Now, jumping back to the booms. So we're hearing these loud booms, and there has been a huge amount of them being, here, I'm going to pause, like being heard all over the world. Let me find where three booms. So this is just recently, some of the more recent ones. March 3rd, they're saying house rattling, double sonic boom, lower mainland into Washington state. We got Eastern Europe, Northeast Ohio, Houston, Texas, California. They're saying larger objects. So is it the fireballs? Is it parts from this comet that are coming? They don't really, nobody seems to really know. They call them the skyquakes or mist pofers. I don't know if I said it right, but they're the mystery boom phenomenon. Explosive sounds heard across wide areas with no visible source. So they're shaking houses, rattling windows, waking people up, car alarms triggering, and there's no crater, no fire, no accident reported. They're being reported all over. I follow Mr. MBB33. Is that right? Is this the one that I'm looking at? Is this the right one? No, I think it's this one here. No. There we go. I think this is. So he's been highlighting, Mr. MBB333 has been highlighting a lot of, like, the weird sky, the comets, whatever's coming in, right? That type of stuff that's happening, and he's been highlighting and has been making a map of a cluster of these booms, especially in the northeastern part of the US. So again, we've also had some pieces of comet actually drop in, like, the US, and I think there was a couple pieces in Europe recently as well. So just an interesting puzzle piece, okay? And so it's the other list I came up with: Colorado, Alabama, Michigan, New York, the northeast part of the US, Yorkshire, um, and Swansea, UK. We got in northern Finland, South Austria, Naples, Italy, Belgium, France, Germany. Actually, there is reports of these sounds as far back as Lewis and Clark expedition in 1804. If we can believe any history, I don't know. But supposedly there's just so many, it was rare to hear them. So maybe these were randomly, comets and stuff that did hit, but you would think there should be something else, especially if it's so loud that it wakes up people out of their sleep. They think somebody's crashed into a building or that some like major catastrophe has happened and there's nothing to be seen. Strange. And what's interesting is a seismologist in the University of North Carolina confirmed these are not seismic origins. So they're not seismic, which just adds more mystery to what they are. Of course, there's a bunch of theories, right? Because everybody's got a theory. And the meteor airburst, as I'm mentioning, that seems to be the big one that a lot are taking. Atmospheric ducting, which is of distant events. Solar coronal mass injections, which can be the causes are yet unidentified. So we don't necessarily know what coronal mass injections do. So could they be related to the sound? We don't know. But the point is the earth is making sounds. It hasn't historically made in this pattern and been reported to just be everywhere and in abundance at this point, right? And at this frequency. It's really interesting and worth paying attention. So there you go. There's another one of those red ball. There we go. And this was the US. This is not the China because he's showing in it. And then it just takes off. That's just a strange thing. Totally normal. Okay, people, there's nothing to see there. Right there. That was swamp gas. Let's repeat that because that was interesting because I never actually made it to this far. So here we go. Let's watch this again. Just because I find this interesting. So this is obviously Lancaster, California. And then it was that glowing ball that's even being reported in China. And then it looks like a chemtrail. Oh, it's just swamp gas. We're all just crazy. It's just swamp gas Don't worry. Okay. So the earth is making sounds it hasn't made many places and it's at this frequency. So it's just happening way more. So, if you've heard or seen any of these booms near you, Canada, US, let me know. Let me know in the comments below. But now we're going to get to the next part because there's more. Because wait, there is more. Let me just find where I put those. Here we go. Next time I'll have them organized a little bit better. This was my first time. So as I go through each week and I'll be more prepared in a better way. So the next thing we're looking at here is the Schumann resonance, okay? So what this is if you have not heard about it, I'll just do a brief overview. Um, it is the Earth's natural electromagnetic heartbeat, and it's generated by the cavity between the Earth's surface and the ionosphere. So it's about 60 kilometers above us and pulses at a frequency which is normally 7.83 hertz. I was looking at different websites, it kind of says around that 8 hertz. And as per the ancient Indian rishis, they called it the frequency of Om because that was like the natural frequency because it was literally the sound of Mother Earth. That was what it was considered, and the heartbeat. Now, scientists have started measuring it when they found it and have been measuring it consistently since they found it, or it was predicted by physicist Winfried Otto Schumann, so Schumann resonance, in 1952. So why this matters is that, well, the frequency does affect us. It affects us as humans. It's a base frequency and is actually the boundary between our theta brainwaves, which is that deep meditation and creativity, and the alpha brain waves, which is relaxed and alert. So that 7.83 sits right in between because when we have our theta brain waves are slower at 4 to 7, and then our alpha brain waves when we're active is 8 to 12. So it usually sits right in between, that magic little in between area. So when the Schumann resonance is stable, it's a tuning fork. It's helping humans stay in alignment and balance. And our brains are entrained to it. So when it spikes or goes weird, our brains struggle to sync and we will feel this. So this is actually was within the last like this was yesterday, April 8th. I believe it was at around 1700 UC time or whatever it might be here, 14:15. So if you look at the graph, what this means, when you have the blue and green, that's calm. It's calm, it's normal, everything is good. Then you get yellow and orange, elevated. Red is strong, okay? White is full white out. It's like an amplified and spiked so much that it saturates the entire chart. That's why you're only seeing the red and the yellow on the ends because it's spiked so much that it's beyond the frequency that we're band that they're tracking, okay? And so that's from the 8th. So yesterday or in the last like 24 hours, if you did get really dizzy, fatigue with, that caffeine couldn't fix, you're having emotional volatility, all this type can happen, pressure in our heads, waking up, brain fog, those are all things that are related and known to be affected by the Schumann resonance. So I guess this is like the whole thing. Did you feel any of those? And what is driving this, right? Because again, this is another one of those unknowns. We don't really know what's driving it. Did any, if you did have any symptoms, let me know, comment, share with what you've had and experience. I'd love to hear your own views. So put that in the comments if you're watching after or put it in the live chat. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. But the primary drivers that this is what they think, right? So again, this is what our science tells us is it's global thunderstorm activity, which is roughly 100 lightning strikes per second on the world at any time. Solar wind and solar flares can affect the ionosphere cavity. So it's important to understand that the hertz don't necessarily change, it's the amplitude, so the intensity of the signal. And that's why we see the white. So it just got really intense for those hours. And then it has been definitely acting erratic for a number of years because I have been following people that have highlighted it, but it's been consistently erratic for the last 2 weeks for sure. It scored on April 6th, so 2 days prior to this, a 72. We're at an 83, and we're not currently in it, okay? And it elevated yesterday, so it was even higher at that point. So that is very interesting, or not 83, B3.4, sorry. That was not an 83. The KP index is 1.6, so it's quiet now. So everything's quiet, nothing going on too much. We've got the 3.4. I was reading it from my other screen. It looked like an 8. Look at the right screen. So what we're looking at, okay? Let's start to look at how this connects. So we have right here all these things we've been talking about, all these interesting phenomenons and things that we don't really have answers to. So at the same time, we have Mars. So let's go to astrology now. Mars is approaching Neptune in Pisces. At the same time, we have UAP sightings globally, as well as making, as we have unexplained sounds at the same time, governments that are acknowledging things that they have denied for decades, while simultaneously we have distraction after distraction. We have wars, we've got the economy, we've got AI, we've got civil unrest literally everywhere at different levels. We've got, like, you name it, there's easily 20 plus distractions that they've got us all looking around, right? Not even looking at these weird things. Every other distraction, they can kind of point and be like, oh, well, this is this person's fault, or this is this person's fault, or this is this. When we're talking about all these weird things, is it is it somebody's person? No, we can't. The system can't go back and be like, it's this person's fault. Maybe with some UAPs, might be alphabet agency products, but not all of these things are. So it's interesting that simultaneously that we have all these things happening, while which is really actually exciting for the abundance of weird woo woo going down the rabbit hole things that are happening, but how distracted they've got us. There's going to be a short, like, scared of shortages, scared of war, scared of the economy, scared of AI taking our jobs, and then the civil unrest. So they've got us looking at all this garbage, which is real because it does affect us, but they've got us all distracted with that we're not even seeing what is literally happening. And I have to ask, like, that's it, I don't know I don't have the answers, but I'm asking the same question that you probably are. What are we not being told? Right? What is, what the reality is, our body is feeling what our mind hasn't caught up to yet. So when we look back to that statement from the, let me find that statement because I have it here. Mm, 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 mm. Congressman Tim Burchett, that if Americans knew what we knew about extraterrestrial life, they would be unable to sleep at night. What does that mean? What does that mean? And how does that affect us, right? Because we're going at this point where now I'm very sure, like, as we continue forward, let me get my next note here. We've looked at a lot. And let's bring in that astrology. What does that mean? Because there's always a way that astrology can maybe give us times that events are possible or more possible, but they can't give us exact predictions on a lot of things. Like, they can say this is much more aligned, this is more whatever, and I'm not going to tell you what is or isn't going to happen. But I can definitely see collective energy and where we're headed and where we're swimming to. So when we look at all of this, I guess my takeaway as we reflect through it, because we're going to get into the astrology and how this affects all of what we're talking about, is coming to terms. If today you were told by an official, so for me, I don't need an official to tell me. I clearly believe we are not alone and have not been alone ever. However, if that's not your understanding and belief, and you were told today that we have been watched and monitored by entities we don't know, or entities we do know, and they're literally living off of your negativity or your energy, and they're harvesting us through the ionosphere. What do you do with that information? What do you do? Do you freak out? Do you decide to stop living? We've been living in a lie. So it's like, well, how big is this lie? Is it that big? Is it so big that we have legitimately been living, that there is entities working with our governments, that they are letting us or they're purposely emotionally triggering us. So through the distractions, the war, AI, the economy, all the crises that literally we've got every crack you look in, there's a crisis and a fire burning, just like we talked about at the beginning with China and everything burning down. There's one everywhere. So if you distract them while you tell them that simultaneously, while you're with your distracting and your energy and not being in a good thing, oh, the overlords are really happy. They're getting fed well, right? Like, could it be that? Could it be something that they've been watching us and they've been trying to communicate and help us? Could there be multiple factions of different entities, some that want us to evolve, some that don't know, and I have no answers. All I've got is those big ass questions that I want to leave you contemplating. And if you see anything that's related to this, send it my way. I'm always looking for this. But let's go through the astrology, because then we're going to go into take how do we actually survive in a time of complete unknowns? Just more questions actually than any real answers. But when we go to the astrology of this moment, now this we are Mars approaching Neptune in Pisces, which goes exact on the 13th. So that's on Monday. Okay. It is the single most important transit that is going to be happening to us now. Mars is drive and will. Neptune is dreams, illusions, and what is hidden. So we've got dreams, illusions, and what is hidden. So I talked about that already, about what is hidden, right? Then we've got Pisces, which is the most spiritually permeable sign. So the veil between what is real and what is concealed gets genuinely thin. Is that the city these people were seeing, that city that legitimately looked like it was there in the middle of that water. I believe it was the whatever beach that was, that looked more real than the reality they were sitting in. Is this the veil thinning? Are these the signs of illusions and what is hidden? So this technology, maybe it makes me think of the movie They Live, and how they take down the satellites that end up giving the illusion that these were humans, but they weren't humans that were walking among us. And could that be what really bothers us, is that we've always been walking among non-humans, we just didn't know, right? Could it be that? I don't know, but it's interesting because the veil is thinning, and I think that's we're seeing technology that may or may not even be human, but cloaking technology that might be breaking down. That is just kind of one of the feelings I get. So we'll see. Time will tell at some point whether it'll be my lifetime. I would love to see in my lifetime real answers. I'm going to keep hoping for that. But so we're getting the veils thinning. What is real and what is concealed gets genuinely thin. Okay. People feel something is off before they can name it. So that's that feeling. And the body knows before the mind catches up. So this is why everything that we looked at is significant, and it does feel significant even if we can't fully explain it. It's the energy's not deceiving you. It's we're distracted, and so no one's really talking about it except for if you go hunting, or you might see a one-off story, but they do disappear very quickly. They're not being highlighted all the time. You don't see mainstream media asking every day, why did the US government decide to register the domain alien.gov? Why are they making a task force to let people know? Putting out the idea that if you knew the truth, you wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Well, how bad is that truth, right? Does that give us time that we can digest worst case scenarios? How bad is it? Are we literally all attached to an alien being and we're just being puppets by the alien that's overriding our ability, and we really don't have free will? Is it the real Matrix? Don't know, but a lot of questions. So going exact on the 13th, It's gonna be interesting. So when you come and join me again on Sunday, because Sunday I'll be doing the weekly live energy. So make sure you join me 11:11 Eastern, and it'll be same time, same location here on the interwebs, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Substack, Rumble. I will come live and we will talk about it. But we also have, so not only the Mars approaching Neptune and Pisces, so that veil thinning and disappearing, um, people feeling something's off, but we don't really know what it is. We also have the Mercury clearing its shadow, which is actually today. So the Mercury retrograde that had the collective in an information fog. Ooh, that was weird. It glitched. In a fog where we couldn't see or put the puzzle pieces together. I'm just watching myself be really slow, so I'm gonna slow down a bit. Um, that clears today. So we're starting to get more clarity. What gets said, revealed, and disclosed this week is going to stick. So it's not a week about half truths or to stay hidden. If you're looking at that's gonna be harder and harder to stay hidden, which might be cloaking devices or stop working. Maybe we're gonna start to see weird stuff like we live in the movie They Live. We're wearing the sunglasses, we can see that the cloaks are coming off, and then suddenly we see our neighbor and we realize our neighbor was not our neighbor, but is not even human. That might even be more disturbing. That might not make you sleep at night where you're like, "Where's our test? Are you real? Are you a human?" Are any of us really real when the idea is that we're actually more space than surface, and it's actually an illusion that anything is solid, like whether this is solid or I'm solid, it's the molecules going super fast to keep us together. So is anything real? That's probably gonna keep us up at night. But as we continue, the Vedic moon is also on the ascendant tonight. So the Vedic moon is moving through Sagittarius. So for me, this actually helps you because it rules broadcasting, foreign lands, and big philosophical questions and the pursuit of truth. So that was why I was like divinely timed that I come out talking about this to illuminate the stuff that's happening, to illuminate to the public and to those that want to hear. So we get into how do we survive this? How do we survive the fact that we've got a lot of distractions? Valid, they do affect our lives, you know, going to war, the economy, AI, jobs, all of this stuff do affect our lives. However, it's keeping us from seeing a bigger picture because we're very distracted on these that I don't think are gonna be as important when we see the bigger picture. But let's go through what you can do to make it through and get practical. Because it isn't just what's happening, it's how do we actually live and live well while we go through whatever this is, right? Well, as the veil thins and thins and thins, and we wake up and suddenly we see a city in the sky because it was really just cloaked. How do we stay sane? So, some of the things, and I'm going to tell you what the astrology says, and then I'm going to show you some of the tools I actually have that will be able to help you. I need to stop this right there. Okay. And I will share as we go through. So, the first thing that astrology says right now is we got the Mars, Neptune, and Pisces, which is dissolving our ego certainty because now we can't be certain about anything. We just can't. There's no certainty of anything. So when we don't know what's true externally, we need an internal compass. So timing, awareness, knowing energy that's available each week, okay? Because if we're looking outside of ourselves, there is nothing secure. We don't know what's going to happen with all the distractions, all the chaos happening, and then all the woo-woo stuff. Definitely have no idea. No idea. We don't really know. People might predict, it might be accurate, wonderful if he gives you some guidance, but how do we make it through when we haven't been working on our psychic powers of being able to predict, right? So this is when some other things really do become helpful and useful to you. So one of the first things, two different things that I offer that I know will definitely help you. Where is that? Okay, let's see which. There we go. So it's not this one. This is not gonna necessarily help you, but it isn't gonna help you, not in the same way as I'm talking about. The first thing that's gonna help you with keeping your internal compass, your awareness, your timing is the Stay Oriented March Guide. Okay. So this is gonna help you from overreacting. Oh, the overarching themes going into August, break down what's supported, a month by month focus. So this is one tool that I offer that here, let's see if I can show it now. Mhm. It's now there we go. So this is a wonderful tool, 25 pages, and it's going to give you knowing of what's available each week with the energies, giving you a guide before you come to my lives. So this is one of the tools I offer. The other tool that I'm going to bring up multiple times is going to be my Awakened Light app. Now, this is because you're beta tester. Where did it go? There we go. It it works really well, but we are fine tuning it. And did I freeze again? Just showing this? I wonder if I'm frozen. Frozen. I'm still frozen. Okay, did I get unfroze? Oh my god, now I'm just seeing myself frozen at me. Hello, our rogue, Why am I frozen? I don't know if you guys can see me frozen. Let me see. Am I showing up frozen here? No. Okay, so just showing frozen on my one end. So, okay. So anyways, I've got my stay-oriented guide that will help, and then the Awakened Light app. So again, if you want to do that, become a beta tester, you just have to go to my website, and I will show you that again. Apply to be a beta tester, and then it's at breathewithinyoga.com. Let's go back to my website here. Become an awakened light, and then you can find out how all of this period is going to affect you. So this is going to give you a lot of help, and it's going to be once you're registered with it, you'll get access to the full app, and then you can play around and ask questions. The timing, the different details that I'm talking about, that is what's going to help you during this time. So every time I share, it does not like me sharing. I might have broken the restream because why not? Why not? Okay, so on my broken of me not knowing if anything is even working. Okay, interesting. Raymond is your boyfriend. Nice. Well, I'm done being frozen for the moment, maybe. But let's finish. So, getting through this time, as I said, is just finding a way that we can have an use chart. The words are gone. Too much going down the hole today. The internal compass and guidance, being able to trust that, timing, knowing the energy, what's available. My stay oriented guide, the link is in the description or the comment. You'll see that as well. Or my Awaken Light app, or just come and join me every Sunday. Sunday at 11:11, and I'll give you an idea how the week's going to look. But of course, if you want it more specific to yourself, you want to get on the app. Now, the other things that show up for how to make it through all this chaos and all this time. Neptune rules unconsciousness and the intuitive body. In the Mars Neptune period, your dreams, gut feelings, and emotional responses are more accurate than usual, not less. So, this again, my app is perfect for that. There is actually a journal entry part. You can track your stuff. So that is a great way to do it. But of course, just journaling and getting more into alignment with your gut is going to assist. What else we've got? The collective energy is one layer. Your personal chart is another. Some people are in expansive periods and some are in release cycles. So knowing which one you are and how these will affect you and how to navigate. So this again, my beta testing. So I've already shown you that, walked it through a few times. That's a great way. You can also get a one-on-one session that I showed before, where you can just go to my website and you can book yourself a session where we do a card reading and a chart reading as well. So we'll do oracle cards and charts, and you can try and get like a personal reading where we got much more in tuned. And I can't even say because my thing keeps crashing. Go. No, it doesn't want to. There we go. So you can book that there as well if you are interested, which is on my website. Everything's in there. And then the last thing that's really highlighted to make it through is Capricorn moon today. Be discerning about what you consume and act on. Not all information requires an immediate response. So know which days are high action windows and which are integration days. So again, the beta testing, becoming a beta tester, or just doing something as much as getting the April guide. So it's again at my breathe dash within dash yoga dash shop at Fourth Wall. Again, the link is in the description. And the April guide is perfect as well to assist you through this as another option. So it's just giving you a lot of different tools to assist you. It's really about being reflective, about trusting your gut instinct. That is how it's going to help you the most as we go through this month. Being discerning, being able to take the information, look at it, notice how these puzzle pieces fit together, notice the trends. Like I was talking about at the beginning, there is some major trends happening. So astrology may not be able to tell us exactly what our governments are hiding. Might give us an idea, but probably not all of it. It can't decode our UFO technology. It cannot predict an individual disaster, but it can tell us what our collective field is doing, what your personal field has, and how timings and these tools in the moment can help you stay grounded. And that's really what I'm offering is tools to help you. The rest is really discernment, community, conversation, which is what we're doing right here. So I asked now, when the world feels like this, what do you guys do to keep grounded? So if you're watching this live or watching it after the fact, let me know, what do you do to keep yourself grounded and from like going crazy because it's interesting. It's an interesting woo-woo time. But before we finish up for tonight, I'm going to pull one question, and let's pull for what's underneath everything we've been talking about. So we talked about the fire horse. The whole thing was inspired by the China Observer, and I will just read the title of the video because it doesn't like me sharing anymore. It's like, no, you've been oversharing. Um, the video is called, from the China Observer, China in Apocalypse, Explosion, Fires, Earthquake. It's like a horror movie come to life. So they talk about everything from the fires that are happening and the non-reporting or the not proper reporting and what the governments are hiding, to then we get into the weird things that are happening, the loud booms and the weird weather. Like, I don't even know if I had mentioned, but there was down one in China where waves just started showing up, which they don't have unless it's windy because it's not like directly off of anything. There's no current that goes down it. It's usually very, very quiet unless it's windy. So it was like something, again, that cloaked idea we brought up where they were seeing cities. Is it cloaked? Is there some kind of cloaked ship that was on that river? Like the the veil is thinning clearly. And then we have the circular spear, UFO type thing, which looks like a technology that's branded from somebody, human, non-human, don't know. Then we've got the Schumann resonance that's going and is crazy. And then we have the fish, the doomsday fish that are showing up in China as well as in Mexico. Pretty sure I did see something in Florida, but I could not find that link because these weird things are still happening and happening a lot, but they're not talking about it. We're all distracted on all the normal 3D reality things. But when this other level, this woo-woo level comes up, it's going to take over all of that because it's going to replace, because when we learn, as per, again, I just have to go back to that quote from that one guy about if we learned how much aliens and extraterrestrials were affecting us, we would not sleep at night. Like that's where we're at, right? Like, just the US Congress, Tim Burchett, right? Knew about the extraterrestrial like he does. You know, why would we be unable to sleep? What is it bringing up, right? So if we pull, based on all this stuff we were talking about, all these interesting puzzle pieces that don't really seem separate. They seem like they're just building onto this other narrative, this other story that is happening while we're simultaneously distracted by a different story. Let's go, and what does the collective need to know? What do we need to know? What would be our intuition? What is it that we need to know? Okay. We got wait for winter. So let me bring that close here. Wait for winter. Oh gosh. Is that when it's all going to come to clarity in the frozen winter tundra? All I can think about, because I know I highlighted how many UFO sightings were in Canada. It was back in like 2017, 2018, and there was a major crash in like northern Manitoba, Ontario area. And I think it was like Jackson Lake or something that got covered up. And I think they found like something non-human, or it was an advanced technology we're just not proving to know existed that came up, and that was in winter. It was interesting. So during the colder months, the fairy queen of winters will help you manifest your most heartfelt wishes, as long as your intentions are for the highest good for all. So wait for winter. So what the collective needs to know is that I feel like this is just showing by the time we get to winter, there's going to be a better picture of where this might be going, or we're just going to get so many more pieces based on how quickly these pieces are going. And we're just at the beginning of April of 2026, and we're already surpassing like weirdness to every other year. Well, let's see what winter brings. That'll be interesting. Let's definitely I have to say that. So, how did that card land for you? Wait for winter. Does that bring up anything? Did you have any thoughts, feelings, words? Comment below and after the video or during the video and, let me know. Let me know. So, seeing how wait for winter, or maybe it's just going to be the peak of excitement by winter. It'll be interesting to go. So as I round up for tonight and as I finish up, and thank you again for joining me on the of my new first episode of my new show, Honestly Though, as we look at the world is acting weird and what we're not being told. We're going to continue each week just kind of reviewing how the energies are and some of the weird things or whatever kind of comes, and have a discussion on this, and I'm going to build it every week. So join me on the Sundays where we look at the energy overview and how it collectively looks and how it's going to affect collective, personally, and how to make it through. And then when we come on Wednesdays, we're going to do a review or kind of whatever we're looking at for that week or comes up into my interest, and look at an honest view. Like, honestly, how are we doing? I don't know. And I don't know how we're doing if we're not going to do well if we're told the truth about extraterrestrials. So it's making me go like, how bad is it? Are we really like the Matrix and it's the robots that are literally manning us and we're each in a little pod with all the machinery just sucking the life force out of us? That could be. It's lots of things it could be. We'll wait for winter. Winter will give us more information by then. So thank you for joining me for this first episode. And before I let you go, again, got my 6-month guide. Check it out. That's going to help kind of get the idea of where the energies are heading over the next few months. We've got the Awaken Light app to come and be a beta tester, because you're going to get a lot, like, once you start going into it and seeing how useful it is. And it's not perfect, because that's why you're being a beta tester, because I'm still fixing things in the back end. I have so many more sweet features I want to add, but I want to get this piece of making sure the database is built really well. Then I'll add those all in. However, it's got a lot, and it will definitely help you during this next little bit on how these energies are going to affect you. And then if you want clarity or more, you can always book a one-on-one session with me. And of course, I do have the April guide still available if you want to kind of see what's going to happen for the rest of April. And then, of course, if you have been following, my husband and I are doing a visibility engine so you can be seen online and build your branding. So that's also another thing that we're doing. So check that out. Everything is in the description, in my links on every single video that I post on all of these social medias. So as I finish up, I will see you again next week for Honestly Though, and it'll be a whole new topic, or maybe we'll just be diving deeper into the strangeness of just even a week, because who knows where we're going to go on that. But thank you again, and I will be back on Sunday. And if you did show up, this show is for you, and that is who this show is for. So thank you for joining me. Same place, same time. I'll become live next week, and we will dive deeper into Honestly Though, how are we doing? Are we going to make it through being told the truth about aliens and extraterrestrials and entities? Like, and are these going to overlap with things? Like, it just makes my brain just goes off. Bigfoot, the creatures living, like the little mini creature people that live in the backwoods of like Kentucky in the Appalachian Mountains. I don't know if the Appalachian Mountains go through Kentucky. I've traveled so much of the US, I don't even know. That all merges into one place. And then the booms, and then the booms, and then the doomsday fish, and then the Schumann resonance, and then more sightings and more weird things in the sky. Interesting times. And if we can look at all the interesting things, I find that is much, much more positive than even looking at all the normal distractions that they're distracting us with. Because I'm going to say all of that's depressing. The war, the economy, AI taking your jobs, the grind, the nitty gritty of our 3D reality is kind of boring actually at this point. And if you want to look for something and like get out of a slump, especially if you're feeling depressed or like whatever. I feel like going down the woo hole helps because at least it takes you down to the contemplating until we contemplate how bad us knowing what the alien overlords are doing to us or whatever's happening. Because if we can't sleep at night, how bad is it? Put your guesses, comment, let me know. On that, I will stop babbling and I will leave for tonight, and I will see you on Sunday for our weekly energy. And next week, you do want to tune in because as we go into next week, as I mentioned, we are going into one of the most significant weeks with the transits, with the Mars conjunct Neptune on April 13th. And it is the Vedic solar year, which starts on the 14th. And it's actually universal numerical master building energy of 22 on the 17th. So it's a big week. And I know some people are already saying like it's not good. Don't try not to do any big travels, was one thing I've heard. So take care of yourself. Honestly though, you've got this. And it's just you got this by the contemplating. When you prepare for the worst, it can never be the worst, right? Because you're already mentally prepared. So I'm mentally preparing. How bad is us being told about the aliens going to be? And maybe it'll be at winter. Maybe winter is when we actually find that out. So I'll see everybody on Sunday to find out what we've got in store next week. Have a great one.